All right, guys, as always, we're going to go ahead and react to the press conference of Zac Taylor. I will have the questions on the screen, also enhanced audio, so let's go ahead and get right into it.
Do you expect Orlando Brown to practice today?
I think he'll do something today. Yeah, but he's probably progressing better than we thought he would last week.
Based on kind of the health of your offense, is this the first week maybe you've gone in being able to do all the things you want to do on offense?
No, it's we always just start our game planning for that week and for the defense and who we've got available. Haven't really thought of it that way. We're just trying to find the best plan to have success against San Fran. But I think we're in a pretty good spot right now from a health standpoint, particularly on offense.
I will say, now with Joe Burrow coming back from injury, obviously, a lot healthier, thankfully, there isn't really any critical injuries that are going to hurt us in this game, right? Orlando Brown, obviously the biggest one, but based on what he says, he'll play this weekend. Obviously, other than that, we have, 3 injuries on defense, and then obviously we have Chuck Sizzle, who's out on IR. But, for being week 7, I feel like we're in a really good spot. We could be in a lot worse of a spot, but we're really not. So, knock on wood, because, that usually does not last the whole entire season, let's be honest.
Why has Hendrickson seemed to get better every year since he's been here?
I thought he played really well last year, okay? And so maybe he didn't have an extremely high number of sacks, but he impacted the quarterback a lot. And so some years I think you're going to have that sack production, and some years you won't. And sometimes it's just a fine line of a millisecond of a guy getting the ball out of his hands. And so he's having a great year. That's not to say he didn't have a great year last year. Same type of production, same type of action. But I will say this, he works his tail off. He's here all the time, taking care of his body, making sure he can get through the week healthy and get to Sunday and be as effective as he could possibly be. And that's a big reason for his production. He's a very intelligent player, knows how to attack guys, can understand what's coming at him, and that leads to really good production that helps our team.
I will say that's actually something that I think is the most underrated statement of all time. Because while, yes, we love to look at sack numbers and say, oh, this guy is good based on how many sacks he got, or he did this in this game, or he did this in this game, I think really the best way to put it is that there's a lot of times where a guy, like, for example, Yannick Ngakoue, right? Yannick Ngakoue, he does not ever put up the craziest stat numbers. He doesn't. But he'll put up 28, 30 quarterback hits in a year, 20, 38 quarterback pressures in a year, to a point where he doesn't get to the quarterback, but he allows someone else to, or he gets so close to the quarterback that it's still affecting the play and causes an interception or causes a, play to be shut down. So that's another really, kind of big factor that not many people look at. And I think it's because of the fact we're so focused and so, determined as football fans to look at sacks. TJ Watt has 22 and a half sacks. We don't look at how much does that player affect the play without maybe getting a sack, but still causes, problems to happen and shuts down the offense.
Obviously, you have the starters in the defensive line room, but how big would it be if Cam Sample continued to emerge on the interior like he did?
Yeah, again, kind of another guy who's always been emerging for us. He's always maybe not gotten the headlines that the other guys get, but he's been an important piece to the puzzle in that D-line room because he's so versatile, really smart player, and really just you can utilize him a lot of different ways, and he can help you give you some good reps to spell some of those guys, and he's a big part of our defense. And so again, doesn't get all the hoopla that maybe some of the other guys get, but extremely valuable to our team.
On the Monday Night Football Peyton and Eli broadcast, they were talking to Aaron Rodgers, and they were talking about a play that Kirk Cousins apparently had called out a play when Nick Bosa was on the sideline, and Aaron Rodgers said that in teams he's been with in the past, they've had a list of plays that they'll run when an edge rusher of Bosa's caliber is off the field. Do you guys have something similar?
No comment.
Like that?
Yep. No comment.
I feel like the comment there would be hey, Bosa's on that side. Please block him. Block the left side. It is Bosa. Yeah, I think that's like the pretty, nutshell how you would explain that.
Well, we threw a touchdown pass to T. Higgins against the Texans a couple years ago in Houston. J.J. Watt was out for one play.
But specific to Nick Bosa, how is he different than T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett?
Oh, I mean, those are three great players. Differences, they're all game wreckers. They all play hard every single snap. They're on the field all the time. They can move around. Maybe some of them move around more than others, but Bosa moves around a lot. And so again, it's what are the differences? They're all great players, and so it's hard to talk about the differences because they all impact the game. You got to be aware of where they are in every single snap.
I think if I had to break them down, Bosa is the strongest and the strength player of all of them, right? I think Myles Garrett and Bosa are very close in strength, and TJ Watt is all speed. TJ Watt is all speed. He does have strength to him, but I don't think he's on the level of Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa, but he has the speed. He can get around players very easily. He has the finesse move, the power move. While they all have that good, I think it's really the strength of the first two, and then obviously it's the speed of TJ Watt. TJ Watt a lot of times goes one-on-one with people, right? Nick Bosa / Myles Garrett can go 1-on-2 and be absolutely fine, no problem at all. And another thing is Myles Garrett does move around the line, as he said, and that's, that next level versatilitiness that's really hard to stop.
Many players like Fred Warner all over the field in the NFL.
He's a great player. Again, don't want to compare him to other guys, but he's outstanding in their defense. He makes an impact on every single play he's in there, and plays really hard, plays really smart. And, again, one of the top backers in the game, there's no doubt about it.
When guys like that are always around the ball, is that just kind of an indication that their instincts are spot on usually?
Instincts, confidence in the scheme, confidence in what he's been asked to do. That's experience in the scheme. They've made tweaks over the years, but really for his career, he's really been in the scheme. He's seen it evolve. He's playing at a very high level. Just having watched him really over the entirety of my time with the Rams and here, he's always been a great player, and he continues to improve every single year.
You like linebacker play, your tandem, and their tandem.
Yeah.
Pretty good groups going on
Yeah.
in the same game.
Yeah, we're proud of our guys. It's you can compliment these other teams and they're great players they have, and at the same time be very thankful that we have the guys that we have as well. And I feel that about a lot of positions, Jermaine and Logan, and even the depth behind them. With all the guys that we have, we're very fortunate that we've got the group that we've got.
Jack, a question on T. Have you noticed any frustration from T. Higgins, and just how much more dynamic can this offense be with him just being more involved?
T's had a great attitude every single day he's been in the building, and that's remained unchanged for the years that he's been here. That's what you appreciate about him and our whole receiving core, because there's a lot of talented guys in there. There's one football that you get to pass around. We've obviously had our struggles, at times as an offense this year, and so with that, some statistics will be down overall for everybody. But his attention to detail, his passion every single day he walks in the door has remained unchanged.
I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like what he should have said is T is a competitor, and his demeanor has never changed when it comes to getting to work and his work ethic. But obviously, he's a competitor. He wants to win. So I feel like, I don't know. That's just my personal cup of tea.
Do you expect him to really start to take off? I know he's been dealing with the rib injury, but do you expect him to take off a little more?
Yeah, I think it's unfair to look at his body work the last couple of weeks, especially. He's been way less than full speed, and appreciate him, going out there and still, even when he's not full speed, it still takes attention from the defense away and allows other guys to be productive as well. And so just having him out there these last couple of weeks has been, the last game in particular was very helpful. And he looks better. He looks like he's feeling better. He'd have to answer on exactly how he feels, but it seems like things are really in a good place there.
I think going back to the San Francisco game here 2 years ago, if I remember, you took that one pretty hard on yourself. Looking back at that game, how did that impact you as a play caller? Because it's still impacted.
Really, there was just one call that I talked about. There was a lot of things I think we did really well in that game. Take it hard because it was a mid-December game, and you felt like at the time that was one you needed to get into the playoffs. And so dropping a game like that, I can remember how it felt. You weren't sure. You kind of lost maybe control of your own destiny at that point, losing a game at that point in the season. So they're a great team. They've got a lot of the same players that they had back then. Coaching staff, a lot of similar coaches. I know their coordinators have changed a little bit on both sides of the ball, but still a great team that they were back then. And they went to the NFC Championship game that year, played the Rams, went to the NFC Championship game the next year. So they've had a good run.
But it had to be a good measurement for you because your first year, I think it was the first game here.
Yeah.
At the stadium that you fought. I mean, you guys have made such an elite. Was that also kind of?
Well, it kind of brings up an interesting point. I was in LA in 2017 when Shanahan got to the 49ers. And so you got a chance to see their evolution of their systems. And the first year, I know they had quarterback injuries and stuff the first 2 years. And then the third year, they went to the Super Bowl. And so I remember showing our guys in 2020 kind of the evolution of San Francisco. The first year, they were learning the system. And you could tell at times guys were learning and some of the Christmas maybe wasn't there. The second year, it really ramped up. And then I showed clips of their Super Bowl game against Kansas City of just why they were in the Super Bowl. Just the attention to detail, everything was so good. And just, hey, this is part of our process. Our first year, we weren't very good. Our attention to detail wasn't great. Our level of coaching at a lot of times wasn't great. 2020, we made some progress. And then here's the step we got to make in 2021. And there's a path here. There's a pathway that San Francisco's kind of shown people how it can occur. And sure enough, maybe somebody out there was showing clips of our Super Bowl game in year 3. But so I've always looked at San Francisco as a good template of how you can build and you can continue to evolve and get to where you want to be and then maintain that level of consistency. And they've really been the standard of that. They've maintained that level of consistency now since 2019 all the way through. They've played in Super Bowls and championship games and, really done a really good job there with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
I think that, honestly, is the most underrated statement I've ever heard someone say. Because, listen, it is a copycat league. You can't sugarcoat that. You can't bullcrap that. You can't get around that. It's a copycat league. And at the end of the day, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, as they would say, right? If something's working for one team and it's successful and it's getting the job done and it's winning, it's okay to copy that formula, right? Copy the winning formula here. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. And that's how you become successful. So, and again, I mean, maybe the stupid way I phrased it here, but it's just underrated statement right there.
Kind of piggybacking off that 21 game, where does that rank for you in Burrow's performances? I mean, that was maybe one of his most impressive games, individual, high-level play. Did it change your view of what he can be? You knew he was really good, but did that day change your view of what he could be as a quarterback a little bit?
I don't know. I thought the chemistry was outstanding in that game with him and the other skill guys and all the guys up front too. I mean, Riley went down in that game, and Isaiah went in there at right tackle, and so we had some moving pieces up front. They did a good job, and just thought that the chemistry was really on point. The timing, the execution, the understanding of the intent of why we were doing some things was really well executed by Joe and a lot of those other guys.
Did you study Brock Purdy at all before the draft last year?
Just enough to be familiar with him. I can't say that I went in depth. Sometimes when I let pitch handle that and the scouts handle that and get their feedback, and so was aware of him at Iowa State.
What do you think of him now?
He's done a great job. Really has done a really good job. Again, you talk about intent. He understands the intent. He does a great job throwing with anticipation. He's got a high level of toughness. You can see that as well. And so again, just understanding what they're trying to get out of certain plays that they got, keeping them on schedule. I think that he does a really good job. Made some plays with his feet the other day against Minnesota. That was critical. But have just seen him throw the ball down the field with anticipation, trusting his guys to be in the windows. Seen him get through the progression. I thought against Arizona he had a great progression where he got back to McCaffrey, kind of on like a seam right out of the backfield, which showed that he's willing to get all the way through the progression. So again, he's done a really good job executing that system and proving that he's a really good player in this league.
Do they use Kittle in the run game?
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, a lot as a big time blocker.
Oh, yeah.
He's a two-way tight end.
He's a three-way tight end. He is tremendous in the pass game. He's tremendous in the run game, and he's tremendous in protection. And so with him and Juszczyk, they just do a great job of using them in the pass game and building off of the run game. So it starts in the run game really for them is the physicality and the violence and the motions and all the things that they can put you in a bind with, and then they play off of that with all the play actions and nakeds and screens, and they do a good job of that. But a big part of that is because of what Kittle can bring to the table and his willingness in the run game to be dominant.
On the flip side,
Because he went to Norman High probably.
on the flip side of that, your tight ends, they're going to have to play a big key in this game too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, absolutely. And those guys have really embraced their role. And again, they've all got their things that they really have done a really good job in for us. And so we mix them up and use them a lot of different ways. And this week will be no different.
Rouge coming back from the knee back, like how much can just some time to get healthy help him have a better second half of the year?
Well, not even get healthy from the back. He's coming off the ACL last Halloween. And so I just think that every week that passes is helpful to Cheeto. And again, he can comment better on that. But just knowing, he returned quickly. If you would have said for a DB to return when he did, you see a lot of guys around the league that aren't quite ready to do that from injuries from last season. And again, that just speaks to Cheeto and his willingness to get out there and push himself. And so hopefully the bye week has done well for him. And I know his attitude's been great and expect him to get out there and have a good week of practice.
It's also age. And I hate to say that because, at the end of the day, listen, if you want to play football, you want to play football, right? And just because you're older doesn't mean that, you in any way are going to have less of a drive to go and win a game. But the problem is, when you get older and you get these injuries and they're compiling up, obviously the back, the ACL, eventually your body doesn't heal as fast as it does when you're 22, 23 years old. And the older you get, the worse it gets. So that's another factor in all this, is that it's not just the fact of, obviously, yes, he would love to be out there and playing, but the age is definitely going to kick him in the butt here.
Based on the number of guys that you've talked about, Orlando, Cheeto, there's a few guys, bye week might have come a little early, but it was timely in terms of what you needed.
Yeah, the bye week comes when the bye week comes. You got no control over it, and so we'll take it when we got it. And I think our guys come out of that thing refreshed and rejuvenated. And we talked about this is November football. I don't care what the date says. This is that type of game on the road where we got to be at our best going forward, and it's a great opportunity to start it off with.
All right, not a bad press conference. And again, like I said, it's going to be a tough game, man. It's going to be a tough game no matter what way you sugarcoat it, what way you push it up there. I have not been talking about George Kittle as much just because I'm really scared of Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, George Kittle is also a really good threat for them on offense. And I think Brock Purdy, he runs that offense in the most perfect way possible, right? Because I think Shanahan has an amazing system, okay? I think most quarterbacks in the NFL could be successful in Shanahan's system. It's not to take anything away from Brock Purdy, but I think that most quarterbacks could be effective in his system. Now, you take that system, and then you take Brock Purdy, who I think is a very good, serviceable quarterback, and honestly, a way above average quarterback. Add all those things together, now you're getting yourself a really good recipe for success. So, it's going to be a long game. I'll be live Sunday. Hopefully everything goes good. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.